What helped you get through that uncomfortableness to long enough that you could start being comfortable both with the uncomfortableness and with it sounds like you were seeding more into where you naturally are versus where you had been for whatever reason.
I think it was as I gained more interactions with people and going to these different kinds of events or whatever it may be, that I noticed that everyone else kind of felt the same. So it allowed me to feel comfortable knowing that everybody else felt a little uncomfortable also, as maybe hopefully it doesn't sound sick, but that other people felt that way also. But that was kind of the case, is that I saw that that was it. And I recognized that I wasn't the only person, but also just saw interactions that others were having as well. Is that we all felt uncomfortable, but at the same time, though, everyone was just doing it anyways. And we all kind of had the expectation, hey, I'm here to meet somebody, whether it be just a business acquaintance, a new person, whatever it was. I think that gave me a little bit of comfort as well, is that we're all there trying to accomplish the same thing. We weren't selling anything. Nobody was there selling anything, because I think that's where networking kind of gets a bad rap, is that you're there, you're networking, and you're trying to sell something, or someone's trying to sell you something. But I thought that wasn't the case. Everyone was just there just trying to meet somebody new, and it was just trying to draw a conversation. And then reality, hey, we're just meeting new people and introducing yourself to a couple new people that night, and not looking at it as, okay, I'm walking into a room, say 300 people, and then I have to figure out how to navigate 300 people. It was just figuring out, okay, I just need to navigate meeting a couple people initially, introducing myself, getting it out of the way, maybe seeing you at the bar, or we walked in together and saying, hey, I'm Steven, what's your name? And then letting the conversation go from there.
That insight that everyone else was just as uncomfortable as you were sounds like it was really key to letting yourself engage with the situation and with your emotions about being there. What helps you recognize that that's what was going on with everybody, that they were right there with you?
That's a good question. I think it might have been more just as I became most comfortable, or a little bit more comfortable, I started noticing people doing some of the trends that I would do, maybe kind of going in, standing next to the bar, or standing off into the side, and recognizing that you'd find those in multiple corners of the room, that there were some people doing that, or checking their phone. Well, hey, I just got a text message. You probably didn't, but because I didn't, I wasn't getting them, but I just had to check the phone because it had to make you look like that you were doing something. So you weren't standing out, but in reality, that person, we kind of were standing out in the sense of, I can tell this person may or may not feel comfortable being here. So I think it just allowed. So from that standpoint, I think it just allowed me to do that, but also from an overall perspective, it allowed me to recognize that in people, and just being, kind of being a people person in general, even though the disc assessment wouldn't have necessarily said that, or people may not recognize it initially, allowed me to kind of pull out those conversations also.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that your ability to empathize with the others at these networking events is a big reason you are so successful at helping people navigate healthcare systems. Because there you also that you are also putting yourself into their shoes and pairing that with all of your knowledge of ways that the system can help them, and putting these two together to bring them along that journey in a way that feels safe for them from the start.
I think that's a fair assessment. So not necessarily a wild guess, as he said. That being empathetic and being able to actually put yourself into someone else's shoes, and understand it, and be able to sit on the same side of the table and see it through the same lens that somebody else has, and see their frustrations, whether it be from the healthcare system or through events, and seeing it, because we've all, dealing with it, maybe, or hearing it often enough, you kind of start to see it and empathize and understand why people may have certain perspectives that they do. From the networking one, it was, because I was dealing with it myself. And then from the healthcare side of things, it was from having many conversations with people that they just didn't understand it. So it was something that they just avoided altogether. So, and really kind of boiled back to just a little bit of just education, having a conversation with somebody about it. Because I think sometimes we can all be fearful that, our lack of knowledge on a particular topic makes us smaller or beneath somebody else, when in reality it should open up a conversation to be able to say, well, tell me what you know about X topic, and then that person being able to showcase their expertise and essentially putting the spotlight on them. Not to sound egotistical, but that's where how allowed me on the healthcare side of things to be able to shine a spotlight on being able to sympathize and empathize and then communicate and educate at the same time.
Is your aptitude with empathy to really get into the frame of reference for the person or people you're speaking with, is that an important aspect of how you build cultures where your people and the people you're working with feel safe and empowered to bring their unique talents into everything that they do?
Absolutely. We have to, in the business world or whatever it is, we have to think of everybody as people, because that's what they are. They're people. I think oftentimes we look at things as being, especially in the business world, we look at things as being kind of a cog or just a barrier. But in reality, we're all people. There was recently it's been 6 months or so ago, for those that are TikTok followers, it was a TikTok trend of people talking about this is who they think they're emailing, but then it slashes into a new video and it shows like this is the person you're actually emailing. And it was, while funny as a trend, you think about it a little bit too, going, yeah, everyone kind of has these same challenges and issues, but here's who they are really on a personal level. And I think that's what we have to kind of bring that out, is we have to get to know people on a personal level and actually try to build a relationship with them, because that's what's important. It's the whole, you're getting to know, the whole sales aspect of things. People buy from people that know, like, and they trust. But then it's also the people don't know how much you know until you show how much you care. So it kind of goes into both aspects of things. It goes back to getting to know people as people, and really understanding them and their story, because that's important to them, and I want to know about it.